The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100, get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am in Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, November the 7th, and we are here for a little bit of MLB chat to review the World Series, to review some of the picks we made at the start of the season, our divisional picks. In doing so, we'll touch on a lot of the teams, see where we think the teams and ourselves went right or wrong. And we might even take a few dart throws at some 2023 World Series picks as well, because it's never too early. We've got an entire squad tonight. Everyone, the entire rotation has rolled out. First of all, hometown Houston Astros. He's been showing us his 2017 ring. Someone must have mistaken him for Jose Altuve somewhere along the line. Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, how you doing?
Doing well. The city's buzzing. I know we had the parade this afternoon in downtown, so a lot of excitement. Obviously, Astros pulled it off, but yeah, it felt good that they got the job done on Saturday night because Alex Bregman broke his finger in that Game 6 sliding into second base. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun over the past couple of days in the city. You know, people going to all the academies and trying to buy the championship gear. And obviously the parade had, I think, well over 1 million people there today. So yeah, it's exciting times right now in the city.
Yeah, so was leading up over the weekend, leading up to the games, was there a good buzz? I mean, I don't know what it's like. Obviously, when I go to a match in Newcastle, if Newcastle are doing well, the city's a different place, different place. You'll talk to strangers at the bus stop, you know, you'll just be chatting to everyone you see. Is that what it was like over the weekend?
It really was. I think after Game 5, people kind of had the feeling that we were going to close it out on Saturday. And, you know, people that were able to attend the game, great. They got to attend the game, see everything in person. But, you know, as soon as Yordan Alvarez hit that home run, a lot of people started fleeing to downtown where Minute Maid Park is, and just kind of enjoying each other's companies and the fans. And it was all over the news, obviously, through the night. It's buzzing because right now the only good team in Houston is the Astros. I mean, Texans we know aren't very good. Same thing with the Rockets. They're going through. It's a young roster for both of those teams, but this Astros team, the city rallied behind it, and it was, you know, the whole cheating thing that came about in 2017. So they kind of embraced the villainy of, you know, us against the world mentality. But, you know, I think for not only national media, but fans that respect the game, they saw that this Astros team legitimately won this championship because they have just so much uber talent on this team. And I think that was on full display, not only during the regular season, like we talked about, guys, but also throughout the postseason where they really didn't run into any trouble. I know the Phillies got out. They came back in Game 1, stole that game, but there was never a sense of panic for the Astros going into this World Series and even when they were trailing. But, you know, they pulled it off and, you know, they're champions once again.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of underdog action that happened all the way through these playoffs, but you never got the sense that Houston were going to fall victim to that. We used the word control a lot when we talked about Houston. And apart from the game that they lost where Philly hit all the homers, and that part of a game where Philly launched the rally, Houston kind of had them at arm's length, even though it was close. So Noah Bieniek is here. Good evening, Noah. How did you watch Saturday night? Did you enjoy it? Do you think the right team won?
I mean, I'm not going to say whether like the right team or not won. All I'm going to say is
why not? That's why I asked you.
The prediction of Houston in 6 came true for Dylan and I. Shout out Dylan for mentioning that in the pregame podcast for Game 6. For me, it was really Houston's bullpen was locked down throughout the entire postseason and really the entire year. They gave up 2 earned runs in the postseason. That's just crazy. And did I enjoy the season ending? No. Now we got 4 months without baseball. College baseball starts up in February. Also, one major reason why, enjoyment wasn't really at an all-time high for me as the season came to a close. Your boy came in second. I tied for first within.
Oh, yeah.
One contest.
The contest. We both had 255 points. He just picked the closer number to the total amount of points in this series. So shout out to the chat's sharp. He, tied me and beat me on the total amount of hits for the series.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute because he's pretty much been the fifth member of the team here all season. So
we'll get again.
Yeah, we'll get to our fourth wheel here. Dylan, as well as Noah, you cashed the Astros in 6. You got that one over the line. Me and Munaf were a little bit more ambitious. We went Astros in 5, but yourself and Noah went Astros in 6. So I think you had a decent World Series all in all, didn't you?
Yeah, after a very cold postseason, the only thing really I was getting was just back in the Guardians and the Mariners. But other than that, wasn't really seeing the postseason well. But it was nice to get that. I think we got it at plus 300 or something, Noah and I. So, nice to hit that. And I honestly thought it was an entertaining World Series. I mean, 2 great fan bases, the back and forth in the early games, Philly gets up, but there's not really a sense of panic going on. They've been there, they've done that. Then on top of that, you all had the controversy with Matrix Mack, chance to win 75 million. Everyone likes to fade him. He just doesn't have good luck when that comes down to that stuff. But great pitching on both sides. I think I alluded to it last pod with the Phillies bullpen. I was kind of impressed by them, but they wound up getting outmatched. A combined no hit for the Astros in Game 4. And I think the story of the not even just the World Series, the postseason, insane performance by Jeremy Pena from the rookie. Yeah. And I know a lot. Munaf mentioned it. I know a lot of people were rooting against Astros because of the whole cheating scandal, but they didn't cheat this time. You can't say anything now. So, and to be honest, I'm really happy for Dusty Baker. All those games, and then he finally wins one. So, very happy for him. I hope he's enjoying it right now.
Yeah. So while Noah just touched on the contest, then, like I say, pretty much the fifth member of our team all season here, Captain Sino, who was in the chat again tonight, has put the hard yards in. I think he's probably put more hours in than Dylan this season. I'll be honest with you. Only joking, Dylan. Well, that was just a joke. Chill out. And I was just going to, so congratulations to Insano with the contest. And I was just going to ask Munaf what Insano now needs to do to claim his prize. But Munaf has just disappeared.
Just email SGP.
There you go.
We talked about it in the Discord because, Insano's just sharp. So
yeah, that's true. Insano's congratulating Dylan. Dylan hasn't been back in the DFS contest. I actually know that our Game 6 DFS lineups went okay. I had Jordan as my skipper. I played him in a cash game as well and won a few dollars. So that worked out okay.
I'm retiring. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm retiring champion. 1-0, done. And I did take Noah's advice yesterday. I did do DFS and football way easier. Easier.
Oh, okay. And did you win anything?
No, I didn't really win, but it was way easier to set a lineup. There's so much more people. And baseball, I had you guys. You guys helped me, so we'll split it.
Yeah, when the regular season starts, Dylan, and there's a full slate of games in baseball, obviously that's a bit easier than the old showdown captain.
So we're on video, by the way, and I'm looking at my picks and just a little behind the scenes. I was out on a limb on this one pick. It's not highlighted green, it's highlighted gray, and it's because, you did not fill it out. I would have had it right.
No.
Yeah, I would have had that pick right. So you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, well, it was destined to be.
Yeah, looks like you didn't get an answer in time. Better luck next round. It was will a team get shut out? I was on the shutout there. So it's only my fault on that. Damn.
So Munaf's disappeared momentarily. No idea where he's got to, as he mentioned in the chat. He's a buffoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so Munaf's disappeared ever so briefly. So yeah, we said we touch on just some of our futures for the World Series and the divisional winners. It'll be a little while, I think. It might be all right. So yeah, I took the Yankees, which everybody laughed at postseason. Got a good run. Got a good run out with them.
Season.
Yeah, they did. Went down pretty much semi-final time. Munaf had the Blue Jays to take on the Dodgers. The Blue Jays never really got anywhere near. And Noah, you had the Dodgers against the Chicago White Sox.
The White Sox.
You were all over the White Sox preseason, and I don't think, Dylan, you put a postseason pickup. I actually listened to the very first show we did, all four of us, at the start of the season, when we got everyone's best divisional bets and things like that. But the funniest thing about the whole show was we obviously weren't comfortable enough with each other. So we were all being really nice to each other and polite, and that just hasn't lasted now. 8 months later, it's just a series of people calling each other dickheads and stuff. It's got a bit Lord of the Flies, because that first show, everyone was being all just pussyfooting around each other, being all very nice to each other. So we put a stop to that pretty quickly. In terms of divisional winners, we didn't cover ourselves in glory. I took 3 out of 6, but it was all the favourites. It was the Dodgers, it was the Astros, it was the Yankees. And the rest of you all took 2 out of 6. Munaf did okay because he took the Cardinals, and that was a plus price, plus 360, I think.
We all jumped on that wagon mid-season. That was fun.
Yes, that was absolutely one of our best bets. But then, if we're going to have a look at some of our divisional picks, so we'll start with yourself, Munaf, and this will take us through a lot of the teams we can touch on here, because some of yours were inspired, Munaf, and some of them were terrible. Well, in fact, that just goes for absolutely everybody. The top 2 here, you faded the Yankees, you went under, which is fair enough. But then you had a under on the Cleveland Guardians, which was a spectacularly poor take, and the Guardians surprised. You were the only one who picked him to go under. But
I thought I was on them too. Maybe not.
No, I haven't got you down as Cleveland. Yours is just actually. Yeah, yours is just as bad. Yeah, don't worry.
White Sox.
So
he's like, "Don't worry, I'm going to get to you."
You're coming. Your time, but you'll get to your turn in the barrel in a minute, mate. And you had the Miami over, so that was wrong. But the 3 you got correct were the A's under, Cincinnati under, and the Dodgers over. So you went 3 for 6. But just a couple of those to touch on, Munaf. Talk us a little bit through what Cleveland did this year, because we were the only ones. When they reached the postseason, they released that little childish video of anyone who'd ever faded them. And they were potentially in shambles at the start of the season. There was talk about J-Ram leaving. Mm-hmm. And we were looking at, I think the number was 76. You took the under, and they ended up winning that division in a canter, relatively speaking.
Yeah, look, for me, for the Cleveland Guardians, when we were previewing the divisions, is I wasn't sold on their pitching coming into the season, because there was a lot of, Cal Quantrill, who didn't have a good season previous to this year. Shane Bieber, I think, was injured at the beginning of the season, if I'm not mistaken, for this team. It was just a bunch of guys I didn't trust. And then it was also like the offense I wasn't sold on. I think that was more so for me, that they weren't going to be able to score enough runs. We all thought, or at least I thought at the beginning of the season, that Jose Ramirez was going to get traded. And I think like a couple of days before the season, he signs that extension with Cleveland to stay there with the Guardians. But it was a lot of, Ahmad Rosario. It was Andres Jimenez. It was Miles Straw, Josh Nyler. I just wasn't sold
Stephen Kwan did great things, didn't he, when we weren't expecting him to, really?
Yeah. So, look, I admitted it throughout the season. I was completely wrong about this team. And but I think the other thing that I kind of, obviously in hindsight now, is that division was just so bad this year, right?
Yeah.
I think I was high on the Tigers coming into this year. So at some point, somebody was going to have to win those games, not only in the division, but, be the division winner. And I think Minnesota, we were higher on. The Chicago White Sox, we were really high on. At least I was. I know Noah was as well. But, with the whole Tony La Russa debacle there, But yeah, give credit to Cleveland. They won 92 games. They won the division comfortably within that final month of the season. And, unfortunately for them, they just weren't able to score enough runs in the playoffs. But this team is going to be good again next season. And I think that's something that we'll probably have to look out for when we do the division previews next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was great in the draft too. They got 3 really good guys in the first and second round that I loved out of college. Go ahead, Malcolm.
So we'll move across to Noah. Now, your best divisional picks only went 2-6 as it happens. The 2 you got right were the Dodgers on the over and Oakland under. So the same as Munaf's winners there. The 4 you got wrong were Miami over, the Brewers over, the Yankees under, which everyone seemed to be on except myself. And the one team I'm going to ask you about was the Detroit Tigers over. That's the one I said was just as bad as Munaf's Cleveland pick. Because the Tigers, it was a homer pick. But let's be honest, as much as everyone was against Cleveland, all the same people were all on Detroit. They'd made a lot of sexy signings. The arms that had pitched really well in the season before were going to come good. And then they never got started. After 50 games or whatever it was, you said, this is when they're going to go. And they never went. They never got out of first gear all year.
No, 2 years in a row, they started off the year like 9-26. And I was like, well, this year is when this time of the year is when they turned it on in 2021. And they just never hit that second gear. And what happened was really, Mize goes down, Tommy John. Tarek Skubal goes down with a little bit of an elbow injury. This team started the most amount of starting pitchers throughout the season. There was like 17 different starters that they used. And honestly, that wasn't even the damn issue. Like, our offense didn't hit. That was the biggest thing. It was like historically bad. The way this offseason is going to work, we fired Al Avila, who's the general manager here for probably the last, I think it was 8 years off the top of my head, maybe 6 years since 2016 when we started the rebuild. But Scott Harris now in the head honcho chair, and this roster is going to look completely different from the way it looks right now. You have on the 40-man right now, 10 guys are injured that need to get put onto it. You also have 6 guys in the minors that need to get put on the 40-man or they are going to get waived. This team's going to look very different. There's going to be either 16 guys from the 40-man that are going to get taken off. That's the max. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but literally, like, this team's going to look a lot different. And Chafin's gone. I didn't really like the Javi Baez signing. That wasn't the reason why I took the Tigers over. I just really thought that with the progression that we're making and the AJ Hinch at the helm, he would have led the team to a little bit of a better result. But that was not the case. And I'm not high on the Tigers at all for next season either, because their number 1 and number 2 pitchers aren't going to be healthy at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, very, very low times here for Detroit Tigers fans.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to be a quick fix there for Detroit, because the problems ran, I think, a little bit deeper than maybe just 1 or 2 injuries. Like I say, they just never got going at all. Dylan, you were by far the most successful in our divisional picks. You went 4-6, decent effort. Your 2 losers were the overs on the Red Sox and the overs on the Brewers, but you hit on Kansas City under. You took Seattle to make the playoffs at plus 180. You took Washington under, and the one that got you over the line was a half a game winner, Dylan. You squeezed in with the San Diego Padres under.
By the way, Malcolm, he went 4-2, right? 4 of 6, not 4-6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry.
That confused me.
I know he went through it the whole time. I was like, Dylan won, right?
And do you know what you awful people have done to me is that my English is now becoming so hybrid American that I'll start. Great. It's not. I start saying things like 4-0-4-2-0-4-6
with the pinky up. It's not proper.
When we were doing DFS last, I've started saying like 4,600 instead of 4,600. So I'll be trying to buy a new van recently, and instead of mileage, how many miles it did? I'll say 7,300.
You want to know how you are American? You bought a Fire Stick.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah,
and then the other thing,
300 instead of 7,000.
yeah, well, and
that
then
makes more sense.
I said to Bob last week there was a match on the Friday night, and he hadn't set his fantasy team. So I said to Bob, "Oh, Bob, you have to set your fantasy team. There's EPL tonight," and I have never said EPL in my life. It's just Prem. There's football. There's football tonight, and I said EPL. Like,
bots.
The bots are in the chat. Shout out to the sex bots in the chat. A big hello to all concerned there.
I take it as a compliment that we're big enough to get some bots in the chat, you know?
Yeah, so you've Americanized me anyway. So you went 4-4-6, is that right?
No, 4-2.
4 out of 6, just say that.
Yeah, 4 out of 6. He hit at 66%.
66%.
Or 4-2.
Hashtag maths with an S on the end, because that's how you say it.
We're already in off-season form.
Yeah.
So the San Diego Padres, Dylan, half a game under was the one that got you over the line and got you that 4 out of 6 record. The team I'm going to ask you about, Dylan, is Seattle, because you were hot on them, and they eventually made the playoffs. They came with a bit of a late rattle and looked really good, actually, and didn't do badly in the playoffs. They gave Houston a little scare. Mm-hmm. But Seattle look like they've got things in place. We just talked about Detroit, who look like they've got a lot of work to do. Seattle look like they're ready to kick on again.
Yeah, I think they're just a few years away. I think we were all honest, like Astros were clearly the better team. They were going to win it, but I think they're a few years away. I love the pitching. I think them signing Luis Castillo says, hey, we're fighting for it now. Within the next few years, we're going to be right there. They go out and sign Jesse Winker in the offseason. He was all right. Cal Raleigh was all right. Julio Rodriguez is a stud. Robbie Ray, he had a down year from winning the Cy Young. Ty France was good. JP Crawford. I really like this team. Their bullpen's really good. So I'm going to continue to be high on them. But I think one of the weirdest ones were actually the Brewers for me. Like, I just didn't understand. I really thought we were going to see a big year from them, from their pitching staff. But I think, Malcolm, you were actually the first person to point it out that they're just not a good hitting team. And it showed. I don't understand trading your closer when the
Freddie Peralta also wasn't a big factor all year either.
Exactly. So it was just a very confusing year for the Brewers. I never got a good read on them. And I think not even going to lie, like the last 2 months, I just stayed away from their games.
It's really weird with myself and the Brewers, because you're right. I put them on the naughty step in like late June, early August for a while. And they had a little run of game. I don't know how it came about. I watched them for about a fortnight. There must have been they had a run of games that were in my time zone, like early games. So I was watching them, and that was just purely by the eye test. I watched them, and they never looked like stringing any sort of offense together. Like they had a couple of nights where Willie Adames would hit one out or something but they just never looked like they were going to ever get it together. So that was more of a eye test and a good handicapping thing in it, and it proved to come through. And that was a big thing in us. Absolutely smashing the daylights out the Cardinals as well from mid-season onwards. So, interesting one there. I went 3 for 6. I flopped on the overs for the Twins, the Angels, and the Cubs. No comment on the Cubs. And I got on the Orioles, the Diamondbacks, and the Phillies. 50% record for me. It was the two kind of bum teams I was quite impressed with, really, the Orioles and the Diamondbacks. The Orioles covered the spread by 20 plus games, and we got that over the line in first week in August or something.
Great picture, by the way.
They were good. The Orioles, I don't know how sustainable it is. They've got some good young players. Cedric Mullins had a good season. Jorge Mateo did okay. And then the pitcher was great as well. They've still got the who's the pitcher who got Tommy John to come back?
John Means.
John Means, yeah.
You also didn't mention Adley too. Adley was up there for rookie.
Adley came up, was absolutely great. Santander's a good player. One of my favourite players currently in MLB, the Felix Bautista, who took the closer's job. He's just a right creature. He's a right big bit of equipment, but he looks a lot of fun. So I was pleased with the Orioles pick. And then the Diamondbacks as well. I think the Diamondbacks are sneaky good, you know. Their pitching rotation was ridiculous. Some of the numbers they put up, really for what were a basement club, were eye-catching. And they've got some rookies coming up next season if they can hit the ground running, the Diamondbacks. And then I don't really know how I managed to get the Phillies over the line because they were kind of off everybody's radar until the last 2 weeks of the season when they scraped into the playoffs. And then the rest is history. So, 3-6 for myself, 3-6 for Munaf. A miserable 2 for Noah. And Dylan takes down the divisional series. 3-6. I'm still saying it. You know what I mean? 4-6.
Let's jump into the player props. Come on.
We're not doing the player props tonight. Player props are next time. Unfortunately.
Safe face, Malcolm.
No. I'm gonna do one more lap of the room in a minute. And ask everyone about another team because I need to know some things off you all. I'm going to tell you about WinBet first, though. If you're ready to win money and boost your odds, WinBet is the place to do it. Live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. Bringing the excitement of Win Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Exclusive rewards right at your fingertips. Win rewards on WinBet. Be on the lookout for the WinBet Win Hour, Thursdays, 5 till 6 p.m. Eastern. Marquee games of the week will have better odds on WinBet, which gives you that bigger payout opportunity. So loads of great promos, odds, payouts all the time at WinBet. You can receive that special offer, Bet 100, Win 100. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet to claim your free bet. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you have someone who has a gambling problem, call 1-800-532-4700. And don't forget the SGPN merch store. Get your holiday shopping done at the SGPN merch store. Those terrible Christmas jumpers are in stock, so you get yourself one of them. If you use the code DallasSucks, you get 10% off as well. So what's not to like about that? Sportsgamblingpodcast.com, promo code DallasSucks. I don't player props next time, but like I say, I'd like to go around the room because there's teams I'd like to ask everyone about here. Firstly, Munaf, you need to tell us a little bit about the Boston Red Sox. They are your team. Don't pull that figure. I think there's a lot of Boston Red Sox fans pulling that. They're selling Liverpool. They've put Liverpool up for sale today, but there was only one site of the Boston Red Sox here. Actually, Dylan took the over. That was one of his 2 misses on the Red Sox. But another team whose season never, ever got started. They were never competitive, Munaf, and it was a surprise.
There's a lot of question marks for this team than answers right now. I saw that Alexander Bogaerts opted out of his deal. He's looking to secure his bag. I don't know if the sale of Liverpool maybe is bringing more money for the Red Sox to spend because it's the same ownership group. I don't know, but this season was subpar. I think that's a nice way to put it. Look, Chris Sale, the whole debacle with Chris Sale, the pitching was an issue all season long. We saw they were just getting drummed by the division this season, and I think that outside of the division, this team was pretty good. But if you just take a look at their division record this season, I have the standings here in front of me. They were, they were 26-50 against the AL East division this season.
Wow.
Against the AL Central, they were 18-15. Against the West, they were 25-8. Interleague, they were 9-11. So even if they played 500 baseball in their own division, they would have been a playoff team, I think, or at least gotten into the wild card. But it was really the pitching. Nathan Eovaldi missed time. We know the story about Chris Sale. Michael Wacha had a pretty good season for this team, but there's more questions about what's going to happen with this team. I don't think JD Martinez is going to be back with this team. You signed that big contract for Trevor Story. He was injured a lot of the year where he only played 94 games. Rafael Devers should be paid by this team. Hopefully he will be because he's by far their best player. And again, the bullpen was an issue as well. So the bigger concern right now for this Red Sox team is going to be shoring up this pitching rotation and the bullpen. And I think that if they're able to address those issues, hopefully you get a healthy Chris Sale back to start the next season as your ace pitcher. Because number one, the trade that you made from him, the prospect that you did give up, but also the money that you're paying him as well to be your ace pitcher. So I think those are the concerns right now for the Red Sox. And right now, the owner is just being cheap. That's just what it is. I mean, if you want a more X-rated version, maybe we could get Boston Capper on during the off season when we talk about the Red Sox, and he'll tell you what it is. But I think that we're in both agreement right now that the quality of this team is just not there, what we're used to seeing when they were, winning championships and being in the playoffs and making a run.
Yeah, okay, Munaf, good stuff. They might have a few quid to spend if they sell Liverpool.
Yeah, and that's exactly, that might be something tied together.
Yeah, sort of. They've been selling. They're talking about selling shares, which is something to, with like the marketing and stuff like that. So they could be raising a few dollars that way. Noah, we'll stay in the murkier depths of MLB. If you thought it was depressing telling us about the Tigers, you can tell us about the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh my God.
O'Neal Cruz, and I'll hand it over.
O'Neal Cruz and Brian Hayes.
Yeah. I really just, my two teams are in the depths of despair. I was not high on the Pirates coming into the season, I'll tell you that. But the pitching staff did not help at all. The starting staff was not there. JT Brubaker was like the one glimpse of light that the whole pitching staff really had. Then they had David Bednar closing down games. He could be promising moving forward if they don't trade him. But yeah, I mean, this team is really Brian Hayes. Brian Reynolds had a terrible season. There's not much to look forward to. So that's what I have off the top of my head on the Pirates.
Sure, I feel like I crushed your spirit there. No, I apologize for that. Munaf enjoyed it though, so that's something.
I did not.
I did.
Look at his face.
It was just terrible, Malcolm.
It's just terrible. It's an awful brand of baseball right now. And the worst part about it, it's in a beautiful park, and it's just such a shitty team.
I mean, if you were going to take a punt on next season's number for Pittsburgh, because this could be 57. Historically, is it 57?
I don't know. Probably
you're taking the
like
under
66.
Yeah, it's not going to be very high anyway.
I mean, Detroit's going to be right there too. Like, I don't expect them to be over 70 either.
Yeah. We'll move across to Dylan. You know who I'm going to ask you about, Dylan, because the season ended. And you sounded as depressed as Noah was.
As
there.
Noah, yeah.
Yeah. But now the dust has settled, I think the New York Mets have got a little bit more to look forward to than Noah and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So tell us, how are the Mets going to go going forward? They could spend a lot of money, I think, this winter.
Yeah, I think so too. We saw it already, securing our closer up, the biggest closer deal in franchise or in just league history. But yeah, the gap between the Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates is the Grand Canyon right now, I would say. The Mets 10-1 for next season. I gotta lock that in. We're Uncle Stevie's gonna win us buy us a World Series. So I think there's rumblings about us getting Trey Turner. Hopefully we do that. Honestly, Jacob deGrom, I don't think he's going to come back. He opted out today. Might go to the Rangers, might go to the Braves, wants to stay home. And I heard it's all about the media. He went from about 6 to 10 reporters a night to, you know how it is in New York. You got 25, 30 reporters a night, and he doesn't like that. But Mets, yeah, they got a lot to do. Bullpen out of Vino, he's a free agent. Bassett's going to be gone. Maybe we go out and sign maybe a guy like Tim Anderson from the Dodgers. Maybe go get Justin Verlander. He's a free agent. I don't know. I think
good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. But I think when Steve Cohen just writes a blank check, whatever you want, I think some people are going to come. I really hope we sign Brandon Nimmo, to be honest. I think that's going to be a big signing for us. Hopefully we get Mark Canha back. And I look forward to it. I think the Mets are going to be really good next year. I think they'll be right there again with the Braves to win the division. Hopefully we just don't choke it away. So, yeah, good season for the Mets. Awful the way it ended. But I think we ended it just like the way the Braves and the Dodgers, 3 100-plus team wins, and we all just win one game in the first round. So it kind of sucks that the Phillies got there, but I think the Mets are very close.
Okay, so one more topic of conversation, and we can wrap up this little first half of our season review. 2023 World Series champs. Munaf, have you had a chance to have a look around the market, and where did your eyes fall? Anything that jumped off the page for you?
I think we've kind of seen over the past 2 years, or even 3 years, is that pitching is what really wins you the title. We saw that with the Astros this past season. We saw that with the Atlanta Braves last year, where they had just an absolute killer bullpen. And I think those are the teams that you kind of want to look out for. Right now, for me, I think the big sexy pick is going to be the Mariners, just because sitting at 19-1, what they've kind of started constructing their roster, which was about 2 seasons ago, right? When they brought in guys like Adam Frazier and things like that, but it really took another step this past season where they really shored up their pitching rotation, right? They brought in Robbie Ray, who didn't pitch up to expectation. He did, I think, have a better second half of the year, but you also brought in Luis Castillo. You locked him down. Chris Flexen, Logan Gilbert. That's a pretty solid rotation when you have those 4 guys. And then obviously the emergence of J-Rod for the Seattle Mariners, and hopefully they're able to get a couple more bats into that lineup this upcoming season. So Mariners at 19-1, they're intriguing to me. I think the other team probably is the Cardinals for me at 22-1. When you still have guys like Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, which is probably going to win the NL MVP this year. The concern is, I think Adam Wainwright is coming back for another year. I know they were talking about his retirement, but I think that they'll go out and make some moves just to get some pitching in there at that top of that rotation. You should get Jack Flaherty back healthy going into spring training next year. Hopefully he can return to form again, and hopefully they're able to go out and get another top of the line pitcher. So I think those are the 2 teams that kind of stick out to me. It was the Mariners at 19-1 and the St. Louis Cardinals at 22-1.
Okay, get a bit of 25-1 on my local book, Munaf. If you want to send me $5, I can stick that on, get the extra 3 points for you. Noah, what takes your fancy? Anything with the bigger prices?
My pick was the St. Louis Cardinals. Really, we were high on this team this year. I was never sold on them winning the World Series, but for the future, this team looks like they're built because, I mean, Andrew Knizer right there at catcher behind Yadi Molina. And then at first base, you have Paul Goldschmidt already. Albert Pujols and Molina are on the way out. Really, it was a nice final lap around the sun for both of those guys, but this team is ready to do damage next year because you have Juan Yepez also like the second coming of Albert Pujols. This rotation is going to go, hopefully Jack Flaherty gets back into ace form, and then you have Jordan Montgomery, Adam Wainwright, Miles Michaelis, Matthew Liberatore. Those are 5 really stud arms. Goldschmidt, Brendan Donovan was amazing this year. Tommy Edman also great. Paul DeYoung, hopefully he figures something out. Tyler O'Neill also kind of needs to the classic sayings, hit the weight room, but that guy's already jacked, so he just needs to figure out his swing. The bullpen was great. Ryan Helsley and Giovanni Gallegos pitched out of their minds. And then when you have Jordan Hicks, who's like your third option, who's chucking 104, it's a nice mix that the Cardinals have going. And I would say Braves, but that's like an easy cop-out answer. There's not a ton of value here. Freaking 6 months before the season begins, or 5 months before the season begins. A sleeper team to keep an eye on, and maybe if you want to get down early on some win totals, is the Texas Rangers. Really like some of the pitching that is coming up through their farm system. You have the duo of Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker from Vanderbilt, and also Josh Young appeared in the MLB over the year. Owen White could be ready come this year. But just look at this team, and you have a lot of money to spend, and you've seen that their ownership is willing to spend it, because in the offseason last year, they went and got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, 2 of the highest priced middle infielders. to build their team around for the next few years. You also have Adolis Garcia, Leody, Tavares, and I mean Nathaniel Lowe has been all right, and Jonah Heim at catcher along with Sam Huff. I mean, this team is built to win with a few free agent acquisitions that are pitchers. I hear they're in the market for Clayton Kershaw. That's his hometown. Also, just a couple other big name pitchers that are in the running for it. But I think the Texas Rangers are ready to win sometime soon, hopefully next year.
Why were you making noises there, Munaf, about your hometown Texas Rangers?
I just don't think they're good. I mean, there's no better way to put it. I'm not sold on their pitching just yet.
I like a lot of what's coming up.
Yeah, what's coming up. But I think for maybe another 2 or 3 years, I think that's when this team will be good. And right now, the Astros just own this team, especially in that division. I know we're talking about World Series futures here, but from what Noah said, like coming in from their farm system and guys coming up, sure. But I think I still need to see that kind of develop over the next couple of years before I can put them in that conversation of World Series for next year.
Malcolm and I were talking about this a lot. And for some reason, it was always Malcolm and I when it came up on the pod. They lost a ton of 1- and 2-run ball games this year.
Yeah.
I look for that. Like also, it's kind of like, one of the football things. You lose the 1-score games, and next year you can expect that luck to somewhat flip your way. I think you can add a few wins to the squad and jump on an early number before they make a big splash in the free agent market.
There you go. Dylan, I'll tell you what, Captain Encino's put the Blue Jays. I think they're going to be the other pick with Seattle, aren't they? I think everyone's going to, when it comes to touting time, next spring training, you're going to see Toronto and Seattle.
Blue Jays kind of were the big pick this year, too.
Yeah, they were the big sexy pick coming in this year. But again, for them, it was, health. And it was pitching for them as well. Their starting rotation, even the bullpen as well. But I think that's another team that needs another ace, a top frontline guy. I don't think Ryu is the answer there. They have Alek Manoah. Rob Stripling was great as well. Kevin Gausman.
Manoah, Gausman, and Stripling. Yeah.
I think they have to get one more, like maybe a solid number 2 guy behind those guys. I think then they could probably make a run. But I think for them, health was a big issue this year, Malcolm.
And Jose Barrios has to figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, true story. Dylan, are you going to say anything that's not the New York Mets?
True story. I love it. No, obviously Mets number 1 at 10-1. Other than that, though, 20-1 Seattle Mariners. I think they're a few years away. And 40-1 Cleveland Guardians. I'm high on them. I just love their pitching. I think they're one pitcher away from maybe having, we'll see how the Mets do, but having the best starting 5. You got Shane Bieber leading it, my boy Cal Quantrill, Trincy McKenzie. And I think if you add a guy like, I don't know, maybe like Carlos Rodon, who's a free agent, I think they could be very scary. Steven Kwan, Jose Ramirez signed that big deal. Andre Jimenez is really good. I love everything about this team. They play good defense. They have a great bullpen. And with the Mariners, I went through it already. They're a young team, too, that has the pitching. And you saw it in the playoffs. Even when they got down all those runs, they never quit their team, that team. And both of these teams are very well coached as well. So I like those two for like long shots, a little more, a little better odds at 10-1. I like the Mets just – obviously.
Cleveland could use a star, but they're never willing to pay up in the market.
Yeah.
The big thing that I think Cleveland could get that would do them wonders is a power bat or 2. You don't even need to spend up. Just go out and get Joey Gallo. Like that guy is at a career low, and he can offer a ton of power for you.
What about a guy like Daniel Vogelbach?
Yeah, him too. Just
what are you laughing at?
You guys need power. Vogelbach is more of a first baseman or a DH. Joey Gallo can play anywhere for you, anywhere in the outfield, first base, third base.
Better than Gallo.
Joey Gallo can't hit above 170.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You take a shot on Gallo because he's not going to demand that much of a price. He's at a career low right now. I think Gallo's a perfect fit for that Guardians team. He's good defensively too, or he used to be.
Okay, so I've got a pick here, and actually the team I picked kind of in the image of the Cleveland Guardians. A little bit. I've gone right down. I've got a 75 to 1 shot here for you.
Hold on.
boys.
Can we guess first before you say what it is going to be?
Oh, we're gonna do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no looking then.
He's going down to
Okay, I'm not
71.
looking.
I know. I think
I have
know.
2 teams.
Come on then.
One's going to be the Marlins.
No,
and the other's
I don't
probably
think
Marlins or probably
I have the Diamondbacks. I think that's
Yeah,
what he's
I
going
have
with.
Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
too,
or the
and
Cubbies.
Rockies.
those are my picks.
Give me your Arizona Diamondbacks.
I know Malcolm really well. Let's go.
It's funny, like you boys just there talking about Cleveland, because Cleveland were a huge price, absolute afterthoughts coming into the season. Now, part of the problem the Diamondbacks have are the LA Dodgers and the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. I think you can put a kind of a line through.
You just named
that
3
is a part
teams in one division.
Yeah, but that didn't stop Philly this year, though, did it? Do you know what I mean? They had Toronto and everybody else. So I think you can put a line through the Giants. Now, obviously, the D-backs, I know it's a bit of a speculative long shot. I think they're going to be good. They were kind of sneaky good this time round, but I think they could be genuinely decent next season. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, we talked about how really very impressive their numbers were. Zach Gallen, what did he finish? ERA of 254 on the season.
He's a beast.
He had an incredible amount of wins as well. And Merrill Kelly pitched really well. They had a couple of young lads come up, Ryan Nelson and Dre Jameson pitched really well. And then their lineup, like I say, just kind of mirrors this Cleveland Guardians lineup in terms of decent batting average, a lot of bits and bobs players. We haven't had a bits and bobs sighting tonight, but Dalton Varsho was great. Then you've got Jake McCarthy, who hit for average, but not much power. Josh Rojas, who did exactly the same thing. They were good on the base paths. Corbin Carroll, he's 22-year-old lefty. He's going to come up. Yeah, absolutely could be the keystone player for that lineup. So if they make 1 or 2 signings, if Christian Walker can do something similar than he did this year, 36 home runs. So yeah, they're not a million miles away. I'm obviously putting them up slightly speculatively. It's 75 to 1, but I think they'll feature into a lot of my picks when it comes to getting things together for the new season. So give me the D-backs there. I was kind of going to throw out the Mets as my second one, but you always take the piss out of me for being a closet Mets fan. And then when Noah said, I think if they lose to DeGrom and then maybe Scherzer another year, I mean, will Scherzer be back next year? Yeah.
He's under what, 2-year contract, 3-year contract?
2.
I think he signed 2 prior to this year. So
Yeah. Just 1 year.
Again, you just worry about the age behind him, so there might be a little downturn there for the Mets. So I wouldn't want them at 9 to 1 anyway. You'd maybe want a bit of 16 to 1, something about the Mets. But Diamondbacks at 75 to 1, and there's not really an awful lot that blows my skirt up apart from that. So yeah, I'll stick with the D-backs. Anybody else?
That's promising too, because Ketel Marte, like, completely under the radar. You didn't hear much from him at all this season. I expect a bounce back year from him too. So
there you go. So I think I've convinced everyone that the D-backs are the 2023 World Champions. There you go. Has anybody got anything they want to tell the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, before we crack on with the rest of our lives?
If you want to hear about Noah's success stories, tune in to the player prop episode, because that's where most of my success came from.
Fair enough. Munaf?
No, nothing else. I know we'll be back after they announce all the awards for this season: Cy Young, MVP, Rookie of the Year, all that good stuff. So we'll be back periodically throughout the off season, and before we know it, baseball season is going to be here again. So stay tuned for the MLB pod. Short off season, but hey, we'll be around.
We're WBC coming up, man. Baseball's coming home, remember?
Yes. Yeah. We'll cover
Dylan,
that as well.
Malcolm going to be in Phoenix for Great Britain and USA.
Yeah, I'm going to. I thought, well, a couple of injuries and I'll be on the bench, mate. So don't rule it out.
Let's go. Lead off.
Dylan, any final thoughts?
No, just going to be a quick turnaround. I thought it was a really successful season. Great to be on the pod with you boys. And a little break, but we'll be back. World Baseball Classic, the awards, player props for Noah. So we'll be good. I think it was a great season. And now we're both all comfortable where we could call each other names. I love it.
Yeah, I'm pleased we got to that part. That was important.
Jeff Fox. Dawson.
I do have one question for Malcolm. Malcolm, how are you planning to play center forward for Liverpool and then also coming off the bench for Great Britain at the same time?
Me and Munaf earlier on discussed putting a package together to buy Liverpool off the Fenway Sports Group. But I said I would only buy it if I was allowed to A, run them into the ground, or B, play centre forward for them. And Munaf didn't take me up either of them. I could do a job, Munaf.
Is he putting up most of the money though, right, Malcolm?
Yeah, he's putting up.
Yeah.
No, Malcolm's putting up 80%.
Riding the bench for Great Britain's WBC team must be fun because you get to pick Jazz Chisholm's brain.
Yeah. I'm gonna sell a couple of wings off here of the house, Munaf.
And
that should
break
be
that
enough.
wall behind you. Some cash will fall out.
Oh,
that's where you hide it.
It is. It's right behind here. It's in the wall.
You have a Honus Wagner card in the basement?
2 weeks tonight. At this time in 2 weeks, will just be the end of the 4th World Cup game of the day. So that's incredibly exciting. I'm far too excited to watch Qatar v Ecuador, which is a game that no one should ever be excited about watching. But that's the opening game, which was 2 weeks yesterday. USA play 2 weeks today. They play Wales.
Play England. That's the only game that I'm probably
going to win.
For. I just hope we ruin your hopes and dreams.
I couldn't care less.
England? No, you don't care?
Nah, it doesn't bother me. I took a conscious decision a while ago that I already had one team that were ruining my life in Newcastle, so there was no in that second. Because I end up depressed, like you talked about Detroit and Pittsburgh. So I just stuck to one terrible team in my life. I kept the other one out of it. So.
Good decision.
So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for all the World Cup stuff. When the baseball player awards and stuff is sorted out, we're going to come back with the second half of a season review. So be sure to listen to that when you get a chance. Thanks everyone for joining in. Congratulations again to Captain Encino on taking down the contest. Thank you, Munaf. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Dylan. Keep your eyes peeled for part 2. But until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.
They out for Houston. They got Houston.